Let's talk about the sandhill crane migration.
Those are interesting birds, and a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to them until all of a sudden they hear them or see them.
Look at that.
And
That's
you can
familiar sight, right?
yeah, it's kind of like you see ducks in migration. Well, the sandhill cranes fly like this for aerodynamic reasons. So it's more efficient for them to be behind others. And you'll see them coming through the flyways in spring and in the fall as they migrate south and then back up. And they in huge flocks. Sometimes you might see 200 or 300 of them. Sometimes a flock of 10 or 20, or 5 or 6 flocks fairly close together of assorted number of birds. And I notice them almost every time by sound.
Yes, they have a very
Long
distinctive
before I see
sound.
them, I will hear those guys. It's a gurgling sound. It's very unusual. They're very loud, and it's one of them making their call will sound like 5 different birds at one time, just the way it sounds. And you get a few of those in a flock flying overhead, even if it's however high they are, maybe 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 feet, usually maybe like 1,500, 2,000 feet up. You'll hear them inside your house. You'll hear that little gurgling sound. And I hear that, and I'm keen to it, so I'll run outside and start looking for the flock. Sometimes it takes a moment to look around because they're small birds. No, literally, they're huge birds, but when they're that high, they look small, and you find that you see the V.
So we have the sound. Yeah. Alex, can we get you to play that now? About 10 seconds of it?
Yeah, that'll get your attention. You're inside the house, go out and start looking around up in the sky. You'll see them. You may see one or more flocks, and just usually in that time period when you do hear them, next 15 to 20 minutes, you'll probably see some more because they're passing by in loose flocks. Mostly I hear them mid-morning, late morning. They've probably come up off the ground somewhere further north and caught a thermal, go up, and they're cruising down past Atlanta, Georgia.
And they're they're so large. Right here, you can't tell how big they are. But that wingspan is really big.
The wingspan on these birds is over 6 feet.
Wow.
That's a big wingspan. And there goes one now. And if I were standing there and that bird walked by me, that head would be right about my chest.
Really?
And because the bird itself is right at 4 feet.
Wow.
And standing up like that is probably a good 3.5 foot off the ground. And they're big birds. They're not extremely heavy, as most birds aren't. Not like turkeys. You see turkeys not near that size, but they weigh 20 pounds. These birds are more like 8 to 9 pounds.
Really?
7 to 10 or 12 maybe. And that way they can fly. And these guys cover a lot of territory.
And this is the baby.
There's a baby.
Now, they don't have their babies around this time of the year, right? They nest just like
it's
other
normal. Yeah,
animals,
it's springtime and early spring, actually. These guys will, now they've already moved through, down here in the south, they've already moved through here. Most of them are down into South Georgia, Florida, a lot of them in Texas. There's 2 large populations who breed mostly in Canada, northwestern United States and all across Canada. There's an eastern population, so to speak, and a western population. The western population is larger, and it's the lesser sandhill crane. And the eastern population, is more in eastern Canada and migrates down a different area, is the greater sandhill cranes. Not a lot of difference in the 2 birds.
Yeah. But there's some beautiful places where you can go to watch the migration, right?
Yeah, well, Atlanta's a great place.
Yeah.
There are places. You can look up on the internet some of the places to go to watch these, and people do that where they start congregating, especially to get ready for the flight south. And look that up and look for the different places. But if you're in the western United States, they're going to start funneling down. They seem like they start gathering toward really the central Midwest or central West, and they come down across just in maybe a 1.5 statewide area, then down into the Texas area, angling toward Texas. A lot of them stay in Texas, northern Mexico, and over to Texas for the wintertime. Not really going down to South America, but that's pretty far south for them. And you'll see them, like I said, you'll hear them coming, you'll see them coming.
You usually hear them first.
A lot of them. If you're in the east, they're going to be coming down across Chicago and all up through there, but then the funnel will get closer and closer, and then there's a fairly tight range of maybe 100 miles wide where they are coming on down as they get to North Carolina and then in across Georgia, across Atlanta. Then they go down mostly to Florida and in along the Gulf Coast down there. And I always love to hear them come in and watch. It's like, oh, that's right, summer is over when I hear the sandhills moving south.
Yeah.
And it's always seemed funny to me that I'll hear these things sometimes very early March, late February. And wait a minute, are they going south or are they headed back already? No, they're headed back already.
Are they really?
And who knows where they're going? Maybe by the time they work their way on up, they can move fast. By the time they get back up to Canada, they're ready. They're, these cold hardy birds, but they get ready to raise their young so they can get an early start for next year. They've got to get those chicks big enough to fly before they get south again. So they've got a summer to get that done.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just it's one of those birds that are so big, they're just pretty, and it's almost like it's the sense of freedom. You just see these guys making that noise and flying south. You hear that a lot, and they had a movie or two about watching geese migrate and training them with the small planes and stuff. But these guys are big birds. They're really pretty birds.
I do want to read real quick. Diane Dorman Hutchins has made a comment. Now, it's not a question, but we'll just go ahead and read the comments. And we do want to encourage you to comment and play along with us. It makes it more, hi, Diane. It makes it a lot more fun. So she says, we always run outside when we hear the sandhills flying over here in the Atlanta area. My daughter in Florida is lucky enough to have had them nest in a pond behind her. That is lucky. I would love that. I would love to see those babies in my backyard. That would be very cool. Yeah,
that's great. I've seen them one time. The wife and I went down to visit Sanibel Island, and in the fall, I believe it was, and there were some sandhills in a yard before where we were driving over to Corkscrew Swamp, actually, which is down there in Sanibel. And it's like, I couldn't believe it. There was these big birds in this lady's front yard, this little house, and Sandhill Queen's in her front yard. So, I was jealous.
Oh, of course.
We just pulled the car over and just watched for a few minutes like, wow, that was neat. Hello, this is Richard Cole. I want to thank each of you for watching, and I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share it.